My name is Brooks Curtis, and as Chair of the Sustainability Commission, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting will be conducted electronically and will be broadcast on CTN Cable Channel 16, AT&T Channel 99, and online at a2gov.org/watchctn. Aaron, will you do the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Berkowitz will be absent today. Commissioner Brown? Absent. Commissioner Colvin Garcia?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Councilmember Cornell?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Chair Curtis?
Here, Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Dale?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Vice Chair Graham?
Here, Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Hans? Absent. Commissioner Kathari?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Levin will be absent today. Councilmember Malik?
He's at the Recreation
That's
Advisory Commission. Yeah, we were both appointed and so we split. We divided and conquered.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Mazlumian?
Present in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Mitchell?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. Commissioner Nedrich?
Here in Scioto Township.
Thank you. Commissioner Overpeck will be absent. And Commissioner Smith?
Here in Ann Arbor.
Thank you. And that is a quorum.
Thanks. Does anyone want to make changes to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda? I see a first and a second by Chris Graham. All in favor of the agenda, raise your hand or say aye. Looks unanimous. Okay, does anybody want to make changes to last month's meeting minutes? Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes? Chris Graham, seconded by Anya Dale, and everybody in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we are unanimous. I think next was introduction of our new youth members. So I'll go first. I'm chair of the commission. I used to work for General Motors doing manufacturing, engineering, project management, construction projects, conveyor system designs, things like that. Retired a few years ago. I do a lot of volunteer work around the city now, most of it for NAP, Natural Area Preservation, a park steward for a couple of parks, primarily Bird Hills, but also some to Brooks, and help out in a number of the other nature areas. I also do some volunteer work for the county. I'm a preserve steward out of Fox Science, where the public schools put a lot of kids out there. I do this commission and the Elizabeth Dean Fund Committee, and a few other random things here and there that come up. Who would like to go next? Sure.
I can go next. Everyone, first of all, I apologize for not having been at the last couple of meetings, and I'm glad to be back, able to be having my schedule coincide. But so to introduce myself to our new youth members, I have been participating with the City of Ann Arbor, formerly the Energy Commission, is the name of the group, since 2017. Currently, so I am a general contractor, project manager. I just completed, or I'm at the final stages of completing off-griddable single-family residential home, net zero ready. And I am also the treasurer for Ann Arbor Charter Township.
Oh, wow. That's a big job. All by itself.
I'll go. I'm Rita Mitchell. I've been a member of the Environmental Commission since June of 2020. now in the Sustainability Commission. I'm also a volunteer with NAP and work actively in Worcester Park, a small urban-oriented park in the Old West Side. And I am an active member of Ann Arbor Wildlands, very interested in native plants and pollinators and the biodiversity that's related to all of those. And also just a general community involved person. Welcome, new members.
I'm happy to go. Welcome, new members. I'm Anya Dale. I work for the Sustainability Office at U of M, and yeah, that's that. And I've been with this group for a while in different capacities. And I think you'll enjoy being with us. We're, I think, a fun group who has an opportunity to do a lot of good stuff. So glad to have you join us.
I can go. My name is Jen Cornell. Queen is my married name. I am the one of two city council representatives appointed to this commission. Previously served on environmental, and so came over in that merger between environmental and energy. And I represent the 5th Ward here, which is most of downtown and then the west side out towards Lake Skyline, towards Almendinger. So that's my little piece of the pie wedge. Welcome.
I'll go. Hi, guys. My name's Olivia Smith. I've been on the commission since, well, with the Environmental Commission since last summer. I am currently a grad student at SEAS studying environmental policy and planning. And I also work in consulting doing remediation and mitigation services. So welcome, everyone.
I can go next. Hi, I'm Sarah Nedrich. Nice to meet you both and have you as part of our team. So I work professionally as an environmental scientist. Been doing that type of work for about 15 years now. Live in Ann Arbor because I got my PhD at U of M, so go blue. Currently, I'm working as an environmental toxicologist. My specialty is remediation/water aquatic systems. Yeah, that sort of thing. So I have interest in remediation, water quality, and public health issues. That's all. Thanks.
I can go. My name is Mobeen. I was in the engineering program at U of M, but I did a lot of sustainability work within engineering. So I see some familiar faces from U of M and the city of Ann Arbor. So it's fun to reconnect with, I guess, Ann Arbor sustainability efforts. So I'm excited to be here and to serve the city alongside you guys.
I can go. My name is Malika. I'm also a new member. I'm currently a PhD student at U of M at SEAS. And currently my research is around the Bryant neighborhood in Ann Arbor and just understanding how they deal with long duration power outages and how we can better design energy systems to suit their needs. I've lived in Ann Arbor my whole life and have previously done work doing research in the solar space.
I'm Christopher Graham. Welcome, you new folks. It's really terrific to have young people. And I'm an old guy. I was trained as a landscape architect, but have owned my own landscape contracting business for now 45 years. I've served the city on the Planning Commission beginning in the early 2000s and then on the Environmental Commission throughout its entire time on planet Earth. Most notably, my strongest interest has been on behalf of natural features in the city. There's lots to talk about in that subject. Hopefully we can do some of that on this commission. Welcome. Thank you. for serving.
Aaron or Joe, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name's Erin Donnelly. I'm the Environmental Services Manager for the City of Ann Arbor, and I am the liaison to the Sustainability Commission. And I've been with the city, I just passed my 2-year mark a couple days ago. So yeah, excited to meet you both.
I'm Joe. I know I've been able to work with both of you on different capacities, but I'm Senior Energy Analyst at Office of Sustainability Innovations, and I serve as kind of the OSI rep too here. I was formerly the staff liaison for the Energy Commission. Yeah.
Okay. I think next is public comment. So we allow 3 minutes per speaker. We don't respond in the moment to speakers, but we do appreciate you taking the time to comment. Please call 877-853-5247 or 888-788-0099. Please enter meeting ID 988-7619-2402. To raise your hand, press 9. To unmute, press *6. City staff will select callers who have raised their hand one by one using the last 3 digits of your phone number. When speaking, please move to a quiet area and state your name and address at the beginning of your comments. Do we have any callers?
Yes, we do have one caller. Caller 134. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Donnelly and Chair Curtis. This is Ken Garber, 28 Haverhill Court. Welcome to the new commissioners. I know you don't respond in the moment, but I do have a question about building decarbonization, either for the work group, for staff, or the commission at large. Question is, will the city adopt Appendix CC of the Michigan Energy Code, also known as the Zero Code Appendix, which went into effect earlier this year as part of the 2021 IECC Commercial Energy Code that the state adopted? Local units of government, I believe, can now adopt the Zero Code as a stretch building code. The Zero Code, if adopted, would require new commercial, institutional, and mid to high-rise residential buildings to include renewable energy systems that achieve net zero carbon emissions. It works like this. These buildings first build to 2021 IECC energy efficiency standards. Then they calculate their renewable energy needs from an energy simulation or from a standard table. Then they meet that requirement with on-site renewable energy where feasible, along with off-site renewable energy if necessary. It obviously incentivizes buildings that are more energy efficient than code. I bring this up because the Zero Code is a key element of our 820 plan. It's in Strategy 3, Action 2, Update Building Codes on page 48. I'll quote from the plan. Quote, pass the 2021 Building Code and the Zero Code Appendix so that all new developments and major renovations in Ann Arbor can be net zero energy, end quote. This was supposed to happen in 2021, but the state didn't get around to adopting the 2021 IECC code and appendix until this year. A lot of politics. But the point is, it's in place. There is a lawsuit from the Home Builders Association of Michigan against the new state residential energy code, but the Zero Code is part of the commercial energy code and is not affected by that. It's been in effect since April 22nd, totally legal, I believe. Cities like ours can now add it to our local construction codes. So that's my question for anyone really. Are there plans underway to implement this important building decarbonization element of the 820 plan? Or is there some complication I'm not aware of? That is very possible. I'm just a random person, a fan of sustainability. I don't have any inside knowledge on what goes on inside city or state government. But it seemed to me like an obvious question to ask.
Thank you, Ken. Aaron, do we have any other callers?
No more callers.
Okay, next is our presentation from Jason Bing on Ann Arbor Public Schools sustainability initiatives.
Aaron. Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I'm Jason Bang, our Director of Capital Programs for Ann Arbor Public Schools. I'm going to tee up a presentation. Is it okay if I share my screen, Aaron?
Yes, please do.
Okay. All right. And while I do that, just I'll mention that I was appointed to the Energy Commission way back when by Mayor Heefja when we hoped to accomplish just a mere fraction of what OSI does on almost a daily basis. So really appreciate the work of Aaron and Joe and the entire team over at OSI. So, all right, let me get rolling here. Okay, so give me one sec to sync this up. All right, and here we go. All right. Sorry, slight technical difficulties. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, that's me, right? Sorry, guys. All right, almost. All right, sorry. I got a couple new screens here, and they're backwards on my display. Sorry. Here we go. Come on now. All right.
That looks right.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to be here with y'all. I'm gonna move through this now extra fast to try to save your evening here, but I'm gonna just give you an overview of district initiatives and environmental sustainability. Really appreciate the opportunity, but I'll cover sort of why we're doing what we're doing, what our targets are and goals for sustainability, what implementation looks like on the ground, how we're trying to integrate sustainability into our new and major projects, and where we can find more information, and then what else is coming on the planning horizon. So appreciate your patience here as I called this up. So AAPS, Ann Arbor Public Schools, understands that making strategic investments in healthy, high performance and sustainable buildings can support the health and wellness of our students and staff today, while also protecting the long term for our students. So one of the reasons the district is investing heavily in our elementary schools is that not only are youngest learners most impacted by the quality of a learning environment, but other than a home or a household, a student may spend most of their time inside a school building outside of the home. So a significant amount of developmental years from kindergarten through graduation will be spent inside a school building. What's kind of wild is thinking about a kindergartner today won't graduate until 2038. So the future that they walk out into is really important and something that we need to be aware of and planning for now. The district continues to use a growing body of research that really sets the foundation for investing in healthy buildings, which can improve student health. Improving student health can improve cognitive function, which then can ultimately improve student performance. So because our students spend 80 to 90% of their time in a school building inside, how students hear, breathe, see, feel can ultimately influence how they think and learn. So for AAPS, why environmental sustainability, it's important to develop specific policies around environmental sustainability that can help us through decarbonization, understand many co-benefits beyond operational cost savings, improving the health of our students, staff, and community, and ultimately supporting healthier air, water, and climate. So simply put, our goal or vision for students is to transform the learning experience with provision of health, safety, and well-being for all of our students in high quality, equitable, and sustainable schools. Some of our stated goals to this point include preparing schools to adapt to climate change, charting a course for carbon neutrality, using healthy and durable materials, investing in energy efficiency and clean energy generation, and improving material recovery and solid waste diversion, excuse me. In 2018, then, the district passed our first sustainability policy, so outlining priorities, which included sustainability education, developing student leaders, maintaining high performance buildings and grounds, and developing important partnerships to support sustainability in the community. In 2022, then, the district adopted a strategic framework that organized action items into 3 areas of focus: environmental education and climate literacy, healthy schools and campuses, and responsible operations, maintenance, and construction. A lot of my work is in this second and third category in the capital program. So one of the first action items for the district was to quantify our impact. You can't manage what you can't measure. So in fiscal year 22 and 23, we completed the district's first greenhouse gas inventory. What it confirmed was that our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, which are represented here largely in the blue and yellow graph on the left, and the dark blue electricity and yellow natural gas in the pie chart on the right, represent our largest sources of greenhouse gases under the district's control. So our utility consumption and the energy we use to power our buildings represent our largest carbon footprint. So what are we doing about it? We're making investments to decarbonize the district, making significant investments in solar, geothermal, and energy efficiency measures. And we're investing in a fleet transition from diesel to electric on our buses. Today, we're still the largest K-12 public school district owner operator of solar in the state of Michigan, but Lansing Public Schools is sort of nipping at our heels now. So we've got some work ahead. To date, we've commissioned and energized 3.2 megawatts of capacity, DC capacity. And in calendar year, very exciting, we expect to be up to 5.8 megawatts of DC rated capacity. So we're going to be equal to just greater than 20% of our annual electrical consumption, and produce an annual general fund savings of over $750,000 a year in retail electricity costs. So our solar performance is linked off of the district website, and an exciting piece of additional news on the solar front is the district received its first check from the Treasury for the Inflation Reduction Act's direct pay incentives. And so for solar arrays energized in the 2023 calendar year, we received a check for $572,000, which can go back to capitalizing investments for our students and staff, and make our capital program go further. We have 3 geo-exchange systems currently online: Clegg, Forsyth, and Skyline, and we're actively constructing 4 more at 4 elementary school sites. So we have bore fields in place at Mitchell Elementary School, Dickin Elementary School. We're working on Logan currently, and we'll be implementing a bore field at Thurston later in the project. So the opportunity to capture the IRA incentives here, the direct pay incentives, is still active for GeoExchange. And so this is going to play a critical role for the district in maintaining clean energy investments and offsetting the cost and feasibility of systems. We've chatted quite a bit with city and university and other institutional partners about just the challenges of the limited contractor pool that feed the work in geothermal in this region, and we have to build capacity to that end. We have the district now has 8 EV buses currently online and operational, and the charging infrastructure now is in place for 6 more buses, which are ordered. We've got 10 more buses in the planning and procurement phase, and then we're applying for a grant for an additional 10 more after that. So with our recently completed solar canopy installation at our south lot here over just behind our Ballas administrative building, we would have 34 buses, which would represent about 1/4 of our fleet. The storage capacity of these batteries is something that we're exploring and are very curious about, in the potential use of those batteries with vehicle to grid and vehicle to building to support potential resiliency efforts. As we replace equipment, so we make investments towards decarbonization, and along the way, as we're making improvements to our buildings, as we're replacing equipment and material at the end of useful life at our existing schools, we're also looking to swap out with healthy, high performance alternatives. So in 2025, for example, we've invested in natural non-toxic flooring alternatives that do not include red listed or toxic products such as vinyl composition tile, which requires annual chemical stripping and waxing. We are strategically restoring materials when possible, such as this historic wood cabinets at Community High School, and we're choosing natural infill products for our athletic fields over recycled synthetic products. Just to name a few. In general, when boilers and high efficient or high capacity energy intensive equipment fails, we're choosing to invest in high efficiency alternatives. For our new and major projects, new construction and major modernizations, we're directing our design teams to utilize the U.S. Collaborative for High Performance Schools Green Building Standard, and targeting our highest level of certification available, verified leader. We're also aiming for an energy use intensity or EUI of 25 or lower based on best practice standards. And we're setting a goal of 10% or better embodied carbon reduction targets for each one of our major projects. So we're using these the Collaborative for High Performance Schools verification system to track our progress and hold our teams accountable, helping the district to reduce operating costs, retain quality teachers and staff, and minimize our environmental impact. So in particular, we've chosen the Collaborative for High Performance Schools because there's a strong focus on student and staff health and well-being, meets those kind of targets that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, as well as some of the other investment categories here: sustainable sites, materials and waste. And it helps us with a third-party verification system, creates, again, accountability and transparent methods of reporting. For each of our major projects, we have a number of assessments and surveys that are completed with each project, but we also ask our teams to review the Ann Arbor Climate Vulnerability Assessment. We require energy modeling and the whole building life cycle assessment process to help us with operational embodied carbon. with our 4 elementary schools. We have 4 elementary schools that are currently under construction and are slated to open in the 27-28 school year. We've been tracking these projects through the US CHIPS certification program. And right now we're on track to hit our verified leader targets, which is really exciting. And each team is directed to meet a net zero energy or zero energy ready standard. So this means we design an extremely efficient primary all electric building and address the remaining building's energy needs with on-site renewable energy or green electricity purchases. We're sort of validating this or verifying this through energy modeling. We use an iterative process to evaluate how we integrate passive and active solutions and position the building to be zero energy ready. What this means in practice is for school buildings that are significantly larger than the original or existing buildings. So just to step back, school buildings today provide many more services and supports to students than when the original existing buildings were constructed. Average age of our elementary schools is 70 years old now. And the newest elementary school in the district was constructed in 1977. So a 21st century learning environment is larger than school buildings constructed 50, 60, 70 years ago. Excuse me. But what it means with our modeling and our sort of goals and requirements, we're looking at buildings that are larger than the existing footprints. However, the building that at the new Mitchell Elementary School will be 24% larger than the existing Mitchell Elementary School, but the new Mitchell Elementary School will use 35% less energy than the existing Mitchell Elementary School. So we've been able to model and track progress with each one of these designs. We're staying on target and we're really excited about the outcomes. Our teams are also using a modeling process to evaluate embodied carbon. So this is quantifying the fossil fuel-based energy used to extract, process, manufacture, and deliver materials to a project. So embodied carbon is the carbon that's locked up in a building and may have more value to us now to reduce than in the future as we try to stabilize global temperatures right now. Our district teams have really focused on the structural category, the substructure and superstructure category, as it represents the largest piece of the pie, targeting this structure as potential ways to hit our 10% overall reduction target. They're doing this through integrating wood, known as mass timber or heavy timber, into the projects, and we're really excited about the results. So we're seeing right now through our whole building life cycle assessment process a greater than 10% embodied carbon reduction versus a typical code compliant building. And when we factor in the use of sustainably harvested wood versus just wood in general, it's referred to biogenic carbon, but this is the value of capturing carbon stored in natural and renewable building materials. And so we see an increase, so up 20 to 30% reduction in embodied carbon when factoring biogenic carbon. So in practice, this is a photo of a new Mitchell Elementary, a main entry. It means that when we look at exterior envelopes, when we look at building materials, we're having iterative discussions around material choices that provide the most durable, low maintenance solution for the district while reducing our overall embodied carbon footprint. We've looked at outside exterior solutions, we've looked at paving solutions, we've piloted some use of lower carbon concrete on a couple of our sites. Additionally, what it looks like in our buildings then is our key strategies include the use of mass timber or heavy timber, particularly the use of cross-laminated timbers and structural glue laminated beams. And we get this opportunity to introduce biophilic and natural materials into our projects in a really cool way. And at Thurston Elementary School, we're able to use mass timber to provide not only the decking solution, but also a gathering stair solution as well. So with each decision and each one of the projects, this is again, Mitchell Learning Commons view, we're looking at the sustainability impacts, which include energy, but also factor in the use of natural materials, the use of the access to daylight and views, and proper acoustics to support learning environments. So we have a ton of project information and available project details at our website. We also have the assessments and surveys for each project that you can find there, as well as just broader project timelines and the work that we're doing. We have an environmental sustainability dedicated page on the A2 Schools Bond website, which highlights some of the stories of the work that we're doing and some of the details around projects. I'm going to share this presentation, so I just dropped a few of the links and resources in here that you can take a look at your leisure. And then quickly on the horizon here, I got a few more projects in the planning phase, including a project for Lawton Elementary School, which integrates further high performance strategies, such as passive house and the use of fully integrated mass timber. And the design just recently was selected as one of 4 projects nationally to receive an award from the Softwood Lumber Board and USDA to further research and integration of mass timber in the K-12 sector. It's really an awesome and well-deserved recognition for Quinn Evans, the local Ann Arbor-based architectural team who's supporting the project. They really have an inspired design integrating sustainability throughout, which could serve as a model for some of our other projects. They've created a really cool video, and I linked here is the link for the video, which I would recommend you take a few minutes to watch after the presentation at your leisure. A couple other innovation items that we're working on. We're working with a local partner, Urban Ashes, to assist in salvaging and repurposing trees that would otherwise be chip burned or landfill. For the trees that must come down on a project site and can't be transplanted, we're processing and milling these into usable lumber that will lock up stored carbon in those trees for the life cycle of the project. And we're exploring the use of wood for outdoor classroom furniture, bat houses, some central education displays, and other ways to tell the story of the wood and campus. And finally, if you haven't visited the Freeman Environmental Education Center, the educators there are just out of this world. They're helping design projects and programs like this. They worked with a team from U of M to develop a business plan around a plant nursery, so students would help cultivate native plants, which could then be planted by students on district campuses. And it's really cool, and I would certainly suggest that if you can get out to the Environmental Education Center, I think you'd enjoy a visit with them. And so finally, I'd just say we've got the district has a commitment to carbon neutrality. We believe that this commitment is going to help us impact the health and well-being of our students, staff, and school community. And as we move forward, there seems to be the continued opportunity to collaborate on policy and implementation of decarbonization strategies, resilience efforts, and other environmental sustainability initiatives with many partners. So we know we can't do this work alone. and welcome conversations around partnerships and mutual benefits for our students, staff, and community. And that is it. Thank you so much. And apologies again for the crazy screen switcheroo there at the beginning.
Yeah, no problem. Will you be sharing a copy of that presentation with Aaron Donnelly?
Yes.
Who has questions? Who would like to go first? Go ahead, Commissioner Colvin Garcia.
Thanks so much, Jason, for this presentation. It's good to see you.
Yes, good to see you.
And it's great to see the progress that you've made. It's incredible. Since the bond originally passed, was it 2016 that it passed? I think
2019.
2019. Okay. All right. So 6 years, huge. Can you? I'm not quite sure. So the new Mitchell, New Law, and all the elementary schools, are they still on the same footprint? They're just being expanded, or are there totally new buildings adjacent that are being built?
So yeah, so the first 4 buildings right now are being constructed alongside the existing buildings. And so the intention is to create two out of those 4 would serve as staging schools and would allow us to have a swing space in the school district so that we can do modernizations and renovate existing schools. The challenge with renovations is that you have to have a place for the students to be in order to do the work. 10-week summer isn't enough to do the scale and scope of projects that we're trying to do. So we have to have a place to put the students. So 2 out of those 4, Mitchell and Logan, create additional available schools that can house students on a temporary basis.
Okay. So what is going on in then to the space by Clegg? Is that one of the elementary schools?
Yes, so that would be New Logan Elementary
Mhm.
School, and then Old Logan would be available to serve as a staging location.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be like a campus then, a middle school, elementary school campus there?
Yeah, it'd be similar to Wines and Forsyth or Scarlet and Mitchell.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jason, when you're building new buildings and you're obviously in some places cutting down trees, how are you? Were you trying to replant the trees? I mean, what are you doing there?
Yeah, so we have where we're taking down trees, we don't have an exact metric, but we're trying to multiply the trees planted in each one of our projects. So in the case of Logan, I think there is something on the order of 110 new trees that will be planted on that campus when we're done. And then the trees that were removed, that is one of the sites where we're harvesting the wood, the usable wood that was removed from trees on that site, and trying to repurpose for furniture and other uses in the school building.
And are you planting native trees or something else?
Yes, the idea is we're planting all native vegetation. One of the requirements for the CHIPS criteria for sustainable sites is the use of native plants, and that's one of the kind of guardrails for our project teams.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Graham?
I think you're muted, Commissioner
Yeah.
Graham.
I am, sorry. So I'm betting that you're going to ask the same question, Rita. What about turf grass? Are you highly motivated to reduce the amount of that? What are you doing with existing school sites for example, Pioneer, I guess you make a lot of money parking on the turf grass you have there and wouldn't do anything else, but what about invasive species on school sites? Are they receiving similar thoughts about greatly improving your energy consumption and biological value?
I know that our environmental educators at Freeman are actually piloting some NOMO areas for us to potentially bring to other sites on in the existing campuses in the school portfolio. So they're doing some really interesting. They have actual plots where they're testing different ways to reduce invasives, and so we're exploring, you know, how we could potentially do that on a bigger scale at the district. But there's definitely an interest in having more NOMO NOMO areas in general. There is some, you know, there's a lot of feedback around the value of turf grass and fields too in the community. So that is one of the sort of tension points, I suppose.
I understand recreation's important, and it's just the size of some of these areas is gigantic.
Yes. Yes, definitely agree.
Electric lawnmowers? Are you
Oh,
contracting, do you contract mowing or you do it in-house?
you know, everything that the school district does is effectively outsourced at this point. In terms of operations and maintenance, that is all really third party vendors and contractors.
So is part of the program to really look through that entire area to see where energy can be saved and where the green world can be enhanced?
Yeah, and I think one thing that we talk about regularly is when we have opportunities to revisit RFPs for services, how do we take that moment to integrate more sustainability requirements in those contracts that are developed with these third-party vendors?
And are you meeting enthusiasm from them as you begin to work that way, or is it difficult?
Well, I would I would say
Sorry.
that no, it's a great question. One of the challenges with outsourcing anything is that it's a very transactional relationship, I would say. And so if
Prices.
it's not in the contract at the beginning of the process, then the conversation is very difficult. However, when it's upfront and included in a procurement process, that is a very different conversation, and you know, we can make sure that we integrate that into our contracts.
So you're beginning to work that direction as well?
We're trying.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Thanks. Thanks for asking those questions, Chris. I want to go in a different direction, but I just want to say that I also strongly support the minimizing turf grass as much as possible. I wonder if the measures that you're using as these projects move forward, are you including as far as like the carbon sequestration, et cetera, related to trees removed? Is that balance being calculated as well? Because I went by the Logan School, I think it was, and it was like just kind of felt pretty devastated to see how many trees were removed at that time. And that's just one place. So I just want to know if you're including that as part of the calculations. So that's really a negative.
So you're asking if the campus impacts are being quantified when we reduce our so within a whole building life cycle analysis tool, that is not there's not a campus sort of factor in that calculator, but I understand what you're saying is that there is a broader carbon footprint calculation at play, and what we're trying to do from that standpoint is make sure that we're planting and replacing what impacts that are being made, so with that we are net positive on the campus as well. And so we've asked our civil engineers and landscape architects to help us with that, so that when we, their design at the end is quote unquote greater than the impacts made during the project.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that, the trees that are removed when they're replaced, the younger ones don't really do the function that's needed for close to 30 years. So it is a pretty big loss. Okay, but I hope you'll continue with that thought. I've heard, and this is another direction, I've heard some concerns from parents and others about the effectiveness of composting on the school sites from the meals, that there's a problem with the trays specifically, and also the packaging of the compost material, that it gets bagged and so can't be put in our regular compost. I'm just wondering how the schools will be going forward with that to actually gain the benefit that people intend from going for compost and less waste. Is there a plan for that?
I know that again, with opening up the RFP for that service, there is the intent to revisit the vendor and the specific product that's being provided at that time. At I don't know, I don't remember when the end of that contract is, but I know that it's something that we've discussed as needing to be revisited at the time of procurement.
Yeah, I think there are some students that are very motivated, and it's a great learning opportunity. Yeah, I hope you'll keep moving forward on that. Okay, I'll stop there.
That's
for now.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dale?
Yeah, thanks. Jason, first, thank you. Every time I had a question, you got to it like the next slide. So really good presentation, lots of good information. I have two remaining questions that are unrelated. The first is, maybe I just missed it, but I was hearing that it sounded to me like the biggest way that embodied carbon was reduced for these projects is through mass timber. If there were any other things that were sort of like easy wins that are being regularly implemented, I'm curious what those are. And then my second question is, a lot of this is about sort of like carbon neutrality efforts. And you mentioned sustainable site planning. I was wondering if looking at doing things like patterned glass fritting, something like that on the glass of the new buildings is also something that's being considered to help avoid bird collisions. We've been doing a lot of data tracking at the university, and bird collisions are like are a big deal. It's a lot easier to design for them on the front end than trying to retrofit later. So I'm curious if that's something that's part of
Very good
the
question.
building design.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a really good question. And I know that in a couple of our specific project applications, we've looked at that, but I do not believe that is every single project. So I can get you more information on which projects and why we haven't looked at that on every project. But I think it's a good suggestion. I don't know that there's a particular reason why we wouldn't do that. I'd have to do some digging for you.
I also had the question about if there's other easy wins that you found with
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Thanks.
Yes. No, thank you for that. I think that is probably our easiest, where we've struggled is that through the whole building lifecycle analysis process, there is, these tools which are environmental product declarations. And that is your way to sort of evaluate on a materials basis. Should I use this or this product because it is less carbon than this other product? That would be your easy win, is to use environmental product declarations. That's what we've been doing. I would say the challenge that we have had when we've really dug in, like when we're like, are we sure that this, that we want to use this material? One of the problems we've experienced is that the environmental product declarations aren't necessarily set up exactly the same way, and the way that they are calculated and presented can be different. And so doing an apples to apples kind of comparison with some of the materials can be challenging, depending on how they're if they're quantifying carbon footprint from cradle to grave, or cradle to cradle, or if they are depending on where they start and stop their process. So it is, I would say the easy button should be those environmental product declarations, and that's what we're using. But there's only a certain amount of materials that have them available to start, and then the way that they are accounted for is a little different. I hope that helps. Probably not.
Councilmember Cornell.
Yeah, my question kind of piggybacks off of Mr. Graham's, just around lawn equipment and whatnot. I reached out several times during the summer. I have AAPS kids, and spent time going around for summer camps this summer. So visiting schools outside of our normal ones. And I was really surprised to see that your grounds crews were using gas leaf blowers when they're illegal. Like, that's a pretty big deal. And so I think, and it wasn't just one school, and I also got pictures and calls from constituents as well. So I would hope that the district would use that maybe as a way to revisit some of its contracts and POs with its vendors, because you should be in compliance with our city laws as a city entity, but it doesn't seem as though the schools are complying with it. So I think if you could look into that and maybe come back, because and maybe give some information, that was an important direction that the city provided citywide in order to help us accelerate some of our carbon neutrality goals.
Yeah, I know that is so I'm a Ward 5 resident, so thank you. But I think one of the conversations that are struggles that we have had is that we are a state regulated entity, and so there has been confusion around what is applicable and what is not. And so I think the consensus is that we need to figure it out with our vendor, and the challenge then is back to that contract language of how does this get sorted out from a compensation and standpoint. And that's where we're at with those folks, is trying to figure out, so one of the biggest challenges with public schools in the state of Michigan is that we can spend capital dollars through our sinking fund and bond fund to invest in, infrastructure, but every aspect of operations and maintenance is paid for through the general fund. And that is the same pot of money that provides support for teachers and staff and all the things that factor into student education. And so when we say we're going to transition to electric mowers, and it's going to cost this much money, the only pot that comes out of is the general fund. And so a lot of the conversations get pretty convoluted very quickly because there's this conflict with operations and maintenance cost. and the rest of district operations. So
I
appreciate
think
that. And yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, please. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your explanation. And I see you, because I think it's really, I hear from council like, well, just don't spend money on this, spend money on that. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't kind of work that way. And some funds are restricted and whatnot. So I totally get it. And I'm encouraged to hear that it's on the district's radar and it's something that you're aspiring to achieve. I think as city and then schools and whatnot, like, we have an obligation to lead by example, and how we need to figure that out is a whole other ball of wax, but just acknowledging that it's something I think is important. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mitchell?
I'd like to go into the issue that Mr. Garber called in about, and that is the building decarbonization and the state codes. I am not familiar with this, but I'm very interested in knowing that that has happened with the state. And I'm wondering how the schools, how this project, the set of projects that you're working on compares with the requirements that the state has passed.
Yeah, so yeah, I would say that that was a very cool and inspiring sort of comment. We are trying to actually utilize or be consistent with ASHRAE's zero code. So when I showed sort of the screenshot of the designing an efficient envelope and then getting your building efficiency low enough so that you could offset your energy demand with clean energy on site. That's effectively what the zero code is. And so, we are targeting that zero energy ready standard. And so I very much appreciate that interest. We believe that, it's a huge win for the school district if we can offset our overall energy spend. I mean, it's that to what we were just talking about with council member Queen, the operations and maintenance budget includes utility costs. And so when we zero out our energy consumptions, if we can do that on our buildings, that means that money is money that can be spent then on teachers and support staff instead of spending money on for the utility company. And so it's a real interest for the district to reduce our operating expenses with utilities. So I don't know if you're asking me if we're in compliance with the code.
Yeah, that's what I would like to understand.
So I would say I believe that we are in compliance, but the code as adopted by the state, we're meeting all of our regulatory requirements. And so we can't skirt around any kind of requirement through the state of Michigan and the building code. So if it's if it's applicable to our buildings, we are meeting the code, but I actually believe that we are exceeding the code as it is written currently.
Okay, sounds like something that would be worthwhile to investigate further. We all need to do some of the looking into what's required, and we could talk.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? Well, Jason, thanks so much for the presentation. It's very good information. It's good to hear all the work that's going on.
Very good.
Thank you.
Could I just one more?
Yeah,
Just
of course.
will you be preparing a greenhouse gas emission report or something that shows the progress over time that will be tracking all the buildings?
Yeah, we are hoping to partner with some really efficient interns through Architecture 2030 through Washtenaw 2030 this summer to help us build out our greenhouse gas inventory. We have not had we had an environmental sustainability director, and we have not had that position since fiscal year 23 ended. So there's some limits to the capacity to do some of the work right now. And so we are working with Washtenaw 2030 to try to get this done. Because we, you know, as I mentioned, you can't manage what you can't measure, and we're trying to get there.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for the opportunity. Really appreciate the work that you all are doing.
Thanks for speaking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is our 2026 meeting schedule. Aaron, do you want to just show that up there?
Yes. Let me pull that up really quick. It is basically a proposal to keep the same second Tuesdays of the month at 6 p.m. And I did like a quick major check of holiday situations, but certainly let me know if I missed one. Let me pull this up here. Here we go. So yeah, here are the monthly meeting dates just listed here, but and they all say virtual for now. If that's something that we want to change later, that's not written in stone. If we want to make one of those in person at one point, but this is what's proposed for now.
Does anybody have concerns with the schedule that's being proposed? Do we have to vote on the schedule? I don't think so, but or do we?
Good question. I think we do.
Okay.
I don't know. Joe, do you remember? He's still on.
I think technically, but
I think technically we do. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
motion to
moved.
approve it.
So moved.
Second? Okay. Everybody in favor, raise your hands. Looks unanimous. Okay. Now we have a.
Thank you.
So next would be work group updates. Building decarbonization. Do we have a next meeting scheduled?
I'll just say, hopefully by the end of next week, but if not, by the time of our next meeting, we will have a report for y'all to look through. So something coming soon.
Okay. Returnable containers, reusable containers.
Yeah, we met last week and kind of have a work plan for the next few months put together. We're going to be looking at co-benefits of returnable containers as well as comparable programs in the US and other countries. And so hopefully we should have more information for you guys. Our next meeting is in February.
Okay. Sidewalk gap filling.
We have not met this month. We have a meeting scheduled in early January. I believe it will be just before our next meeting as a commission. Nothing to add.
Water quality.
We have not met since our last meeting, but we do have meetings scheduled for noon on Friday.
Okay.
Aaron, you're going to set up a share site of some sort, I guess, in the Teams environment for the sidewalk documents?
I did set up the SharePoint. The updated documents are not on there yet. So that is on my list for this week. So it'll get done this week. So I'll let you know when those are posted to the SharePoint. But check your email and make sure you have access to the SharePoint. I can reshare the link if that didn't come through.
I did look and I couldn't find it, though I
Okay.
do remember
Okay.
seeing something about it anyway.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Rita,
then
you have your hand
I
up?
would add, I guess, for our new youth commissioners, I can follow up with an email about what the work groups are about, and if you're interested in joining any of those four working groups, we can follow up separately.
Rita, you have your hand up?
I do. This is left over from building decarbonization. I
Oh.
thought I'd toss it in just for discussion. Again, Mr. Garber's comment about the state code change. Is there any update that you can give, maybe Joe, on building decarbonization and where our city code will go with respect to the state regulations?
Yeah, as a city, we don't have the ability to set our own codes. We follow the state building code.
Yeah.
So whatever the
It's
state
flagged.
building code is, that's what we follow. So what was mentioned in the caller was an optional code. The state did not adopt that portion of the code, and we cannot adopt that portion of the code on our own outside of the state adopting it.
So we can't get better than where
Correct.
we are?
We cannot go above and beyond the state building code. We do not have that authority.
So what is the difference between the state building code and what was just adopted by the state? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so the state, it's on a rough cycle of every 6 years, they update their building code. The way that codes tend to work is there's something, a model code that's created by an entity. It's called IECC. I think it's the International Energy Conservation Code, something like that. But they put out a model code every 3 years. And then states can adopt that as is. They can adopt that with modifications, or they can adopt something else. The way that the state of Michigan does it, they adopt that on basically every other cycle. So those come out every 3 years. Michigan adopts it every 6 years with modifications. And so they modify certain parts of it to make sure it meets whatever the needs are of the state. At the end of it, there are a couple optional appendices that could be adopted, states could choose to adopt. The zero code, which is the one that would say, essentially a fully decarbonized building, was not one that was adopted by the state. And again, as a city, we do not have the ability to go above and beyond that code.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yes, but that's why we
it'd be
work
a
in a couple different
gigantic
areas to
step.
try to incentivize in the areas that we can't regulate.
It'd be a gigantic step for the state to take. And all of
Yeah,
us.
and we do as a city, though, to the extent we can in the different areas, put forth comment in these different areas. They're going through the different code cycles where they go through. We have the ability to work to provide our own, comment in the area saying we think this would be a good thing to adopt. Here's why. Here's the things it could do. But we ultimately aren't the final decision maker on that.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Aaron, for the environmental services framework that's on hold, when do you expect to take that off of hold and start work?
I am concerned about capacity for 3 working groups, and so I think the sidewalk gap filling, I think, was going to end up being a longer term working group. So I think when one of those current work groups sunsets, I'll pick up the environmental services.
Okay, next would be city council updates.
Don't have any updates for you. It's been a very short couple of meetings. I will say the city had its work session yesterday. or yeah, that's just last night. We had a work session last night and heard a lot of information about what will inform the budget, some big ideas that staff had. None of them were directly applicable to this effort, although I will say that Dr. Stoltz gave a really nice presentation on the circular economy initiative and what we're trying to do with those returnable containers and what it would actually take. So that felt like less of an idea and more like a potential reality, which was really exciting. And then I think the only other thing I wanted to mention is that both Councilmember Malik and I did, we were co-sponsors of that vegetation ordinance, and that did pass at our last meeting. So that was really exciting as well, in terms of allowing for more native grasses, native plantings. It's been a long road to get there, to get here, as some of you sitting here know. And I'm just grateful that for the input and the conversations around it. And I know Councilmember Malik feels the same, and just to have seen it go across the finish line. And I'm happy to share that, Ms. Donnelly, if you want, I can give you the link to that if you want to share it with the group afterwards so you can read the text.
That's great.
Commissioner Graham, you have a comment?
Was there much pushback against the vice mayor's comments about fire and pest problems with tall native species? Somewhere along the line?
Yeah, that was actually Councilmember Radina. It was not the
Right.
mayor who shared that feedback.
Vice mayor.
I guess I'm misunderstanding the question about pushback. It did not in any way, his comments did not modify the ordinance as written.
That's good, because it probably was not well crafted, let's say. If we somehow had danger of forest fires in Ann Arbor, it would be an entirely different matter, but leaf litter and native species fires are what they call cool fires and would present only in the most unusual circumstance a danger. And by far the biggest contribution of those native species is pollinators and native critters, not pests. So I'm glad what you did flew through. Thank you.
So Aaron, I think next was staff updates.
Sure. Yep, I can share my file. The first update was the land use comprehensive plan. The third draft is nearing the end of the public comment period. So there's some instruction here for kind of your last options for public comment, depending on if you want to submit a written comment or if you want to give comment at a planning commission meeting. The last opportunity for written comments is 9 a.m. on Monday, January 5th. So keep that in the back of your minds. I know a lot of you have commented already. And then the plan, the timeline is still for final adoption in early 2026 by council. From OSI, and Joe, jump in here if you want to go into more detail on any of these, but there's a new residential rebate for leaf blowers and snow blowers. So we just launched a new rebate program specifically for rakes and electric leaf blowers beginning November 21st, 2025 through the end of the year or until funding is expended. There's also rebates available for snow shovels and electric snow blowers, which began yesterday and will be available until the end of January 2026. The City of Ann Arbor was recognized as a Sustainable Public Entity of the Year by Michigan Sustainable Business Forum. So that's a big win. The City of Ann Arbor was awarded this award from the Michigan Sustainable Business Forum on November 13th at their Triple Bottom Line Bash. There's an upcoming cinema on December 10th called Catching the Sun at 7 p.m. at the State Theater. Oh, was anyone able to catch the last movie, by the way? The water quality, okay, just curious. There's an upcoming monthly clothing swap on December 18th from 4 to 7 at Council Chambers. And from Public Services, the transportation folks have put together an Ann Arbor roadway right sizing, so A2, R2. There's been a lot of confusion with R2D2 lately, but that survey is open. They are focusing on 10 city roads that have 4 or more lanes, and kind of using some brainstorming and creativity to figure out what potential solutions there are out there for safer travel, pedestrian and otherwise. So that is, let's see. Oh, there's also an upcoming open house tomorrow from 5 to 7 at the downtown library.
Commissioner Graham?
Yep, Commissioner Graham.
I think I did this survey, and as is the case with many surveys, there is no room to give comments other than answering the questions, which often don't really get to some important issues in the matter at hand. I guess I would, I don't know how, I mean, it's not your job. I don't want to put the monkey on your shoulders per se, but maybe some feedback can go up the system to not do that with surveys and to include the availability of separate comments that aren't directly responding in a yes or no or multiple choice way.
Sure. Okay. Like an option for a narrative
Right.
response. Okay. Yeah, I can certainly share that feedback. Thanks. And that's all I have for staff updates.
One thing from NAP, they got that contract to GEI consultants to do work in the nature areas, and they started work last week in Cedar Bend. So they have started to proceed with that. So
What are
that's a
they
sign.
doing?
Cutting down invasives
Oh,
and
good.
herbiciding them.
Wow. Is that the first time we've used outside vendor for that work rather than volunteers and staff?
As far as I know, it's the first time we've gotten a grant money to do that, but
And where did the money come from?
it was a grant. It's a split between OSI Forestry and NAP last year. Is $1 million grant or something like that, roughly, somewhere in that general amount. Just took a while to get the contracts done and get it started.
Is it federal money or state money? County money?
I think it's federal money.
ARPA? So going back a couple years to those big bills? Okay, sorry.
I don't know. It's beyond my knowledge base. So next is public comment. We allow 3 minutes per speaker. We don't respond to in the moment to speakers. We do appreciate you taking the time to call. Please call 877-853-5247 or 888-788-0099. Enter meeting ID 988-7619-2402. To raise your hand, press 9. To unmute, press *6. City staff will select callers who've raised their hand one by one using the last 3 digits of your phone number. When speaking, please move to a quiet area and state your name and address at the beginning of your comments. Aaron, do we have callers?
Yes. Caller 134. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Curtis. This is Ken Garber again. I called in at the beginning of the meeting. Yeah, excellent meeting. Appreciated the discussion, especially Jason Bing's presentation. If there's any way for the copy of his presentation that he intends to deliver to Ms. Donnelly could be made public, maybe added to the minutes of this meeting or otherwise on Legistar, that would be great. I am sure other people would love to be able to review it out in the public. Regarding the state and city building codes, Mr. Lang is absolutely correct. The city construction code cannot exceed the requirements of state building code. And I apologize if I was in error earlier stating that the state had adopted the zero code appendix, which would be an optional addition to any city that chose to adopt it as a stretch code that would require net zero carbon buildings. However, you know, looking at the web, there are several sites that indicate that the state did adopt the appendix with the adoption of the 2021 IECC Commercial Energy Code, and that it, with the rest of the code, that it went into effect April 22nd this year and is available to communities to adopt. Now, you can't trust everything you see on the web, but that's, and I did not follow the process at Lara at the state, so I don't have direct knowledge of this, but there's a lot of sites out there saying that the state did adopt the zero code appendix. So that's where I got my information, and I'd love to be completely assured that it's wrong and that, in fact, there is no option for local jurisdictions to adopt a zero code appendix and require commercial new construction to be net zero carbon. So maybe Mr. Lang and I could communicate offline, and he can, you know, set me straight definitively. But that was the source of my question, and it seems like should be able to get a very clear answer very quickly. Anyway, really appreciate everyone's work on this and other issues, and I look forward to future meetings. Thanks for considering my comments, and happy holiday and New Year to everybody.
Thank you.
Same to you.
And yes, the presentation will be included with the minutes, Mr. Bing's presentation.
Do we have another caller?
Nope, that is it.
Okay, so for our next meeting in January, we have Dr. Chris Savoboda from Eagle coming to present on Gelman. So that should be interesting. And if people have other topics, please let myself, Chris, and Aaron know. We will get them in the schedule. Is there anybody else want to say anything while we're all together?
Very good.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Thank you, Brooks.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Brooke.
Thank you for your
Bye,
work.
everybody.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to
Bye,
adjourn?
everyone.
Oh,
So moved.
So move. Okay. Whoever's still
Oh,
here
yeah,
who
that.
votes for it. So yeah, you're out of here. I guess we're close. We have enough people, I think, to officially end the meeting. So that's good enough. All right. See you next
Bye.
month. Bye.
thank you.
Bye.